Swing and a drive.
Welcome to Red, White, and Blue Jays, the podcast home of Blue Jays Fans UK, a group connecting Blue Jays fans around the UK and beyond, and telling their story. And now, here's the host of Red, White, and Blue Jays, Steve Hunter.
Hi guys, thank you so much for tuning in to what is now our episode 5 of Red, White and Blue Jays. Thank you so much for all your feedback and comments. Really enjoying just hearing how people are loving listening to Blue Jays fans who just talk about their experiences of following the team and going to games and just enjoying being a sports fan. Well, as you know, when we launched this pod, I reached out to Tim Langton, who's the Blue Jays PA announcer, to see whether he could help us again. And if some of you remember from last year, Tim did a little game intro for some of us as Jays fans here in the UK. And as a little bonus, I'm going to put this on that clip at the end of this pod so you can hear what he did for us then. But Tim has been brilliant in just helping me pull together the intro. So you hear him every week. And I'm just thrilled tonight to have Tim with us. Tim, thank you so much for all you've done for us so far, but particularly for spending some time with me this evening.
It's all a pleasure. I'm very happy to do it.
It's absolute gold dust. I mean, I've had so many people compliment you in terms of what you've produced for us, and I know it's only little snippets, but for us here in the UK to have somebody who's involved in game days at Rogers be part of our little world here in the UK is a real honour, and we're just so grateful for all that you've done.
Yeah, you give me a chance to exercise my creative muscles by doing that kind of stuff. So I love doing it.
Yeah, brilliant. It's funny with the clip that you did for us last year, the little sort of Blue Jays all-star team. My name was in the team. I don't remember this, but I was playing centre field in that team lineup. So that is my now ringtone on my phone. So everywhere I go and my phone rings, you're blasting out my name. So there you go. I just want to give you some credit, which always raises eyebrows in work meetings and sort of stuff like that.
That's good. Has it rung anywhere where there's been another Blue Jay fan that went, hey?
No, I've not had that experience yet. I think most of my kids disown me when it goes off, to be honest. But no, I think because of the amount of Jays fans that we have here in the UK, actually bumping into another one that easily doesn't happen that often, although there are a lot of us here. But we've got a few guys who live around me here. I'm in Bournemouth, which is on the south coast of England. And there's about 5 or 6 of us that live not too far apart. So I must play that to them next time we get together to watch a game. So Tim, tonight we're going to just delve into a little bit of the Tim Langton story, and perhaps look at or hear a little bit about some of your early years in terms of I know radio really was where you kicked off. Can you give us a little bit of an intro in terms of backdrop, where you grew up, how you got into radio? Is it always been your passion?
Well, can't quite. Well, let's start at the beginning.
Yeah, that's great.
I was born in Peterborough, Ontario, which is about an hour here from Toronto. Did all my growing up in a place called Kirkland Lake, Ontario, which is northern Ontario. I don't know how familiar you are with the geography, but it's north. North of North Bay. I don't know. That seems to be everybody's benchmark. Everybody knows where North Bay is, but it's probably another 2-3 hours north. Anyway, a lot of hockey players come from there. Played a lot of hockey, refereed a lot of hockey growing up. Played Little League baseball. Was never much of a baseball player. Was a catcher outfielder. Played shortstop once. Got hit in the throat with a line drive, And that was the end of my infield. I never played infield again.
Right.
Got into radio in Kirkland Lake, looking for a job. Was finishing high school, had absolutely no intention of doing any more school, at least at that moment anyway. And I wanted to do something, but I didn't want to stay there. So I went to, back in the day, we had the Manpower office where you go and look at the jobs and, find out if there's any jobs and register. I suppose you can still do that now, but it's all online. And they were looking for somebody to read news part-time at the radio station, Kirkland Lake. And I said, you know what? Don't send anybody else. That's my job. And she wound up, when she set up my interview, she told the news director at the time what I had said, and he kind of liked that, so he hired me. And that's where it started. It started in news, and then I realized there was no groupies in news.
Right.
So I wanted to get on the air and be a DJ, which I did eventually. That was an incredible place. It was a different time. This is 1977, late 1977. It was radio was such a, I mean, I don't honestly don't know what, radio is quite different in the UK as far as I know. And it was very much a creative business, and it was a lot of fun to be in. It's not a creative business anymore. It's a business. Everything's dollars and cents. Anyway, from Kirkland Lake, I traveled around quite a bit, Canada, over several years, found a home at a radio station in Sudbury for a while. Was wildly successful, was glad to be a part of that. Wound up in Barrie, Ontario. And that's where I found out there was a job at Skydome. At the time, it was Skydome.
Yeah.
Applied for that job, got an interview, didn't get the job because I didn't have a technical background. Okay. They hired a guy with a technical background, figured, okay, we'll teach him the creative. What was it? Well, it was August 1997. So it would have been about 6 months after I applied for the job. They called back and asked if I was still interested. And of course I was. And I wound up getting that job. They taught me the technical. I brought the creative. They taught me the technical. And I worked in that building full time, running the audio department for, I guess, about 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And things were not good back in those days. I didn't work for the team. The team and the building were two separate entities at that time, and things were not good within the building. People were being laid off. I said, package me out, please. And I had an amazing boss at the time. She packaged me out. I came back freelance. Oh, this is a long story, isn't it?
No, it's good. No, it's good.
Yada, 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 to quote Seinfeld. I got a call. I was mixing audio at the Business News Network in Canada, in Toronto here. And I got a phone call on my break from the then producer of the game day stuff. It said, would you like to be our PA announcer? Yeah, I really would. And there you go. That was 2005.
2005.
And I had been mixing audio and doing music and effects in there up until that point. I had been there and backed up a couple of times. Murray didn't miss very many games, but I was there to back him up, and I was right place, right time. And here I am.
Yeah. I mean, and you're, just in terms of your fandom of the Jays or baseball, you said you played hockey. I mean, did you go in with some knowledge as well in terms of the team and everything else, or was it everything was new apart from the ability to broadcast? And
I was a casual baseball fan.
Okay.
Definitely always. Yeah. I mean, ever since I was young, always watched the playoffs for some reason. Yeah, I was a sort of a casual fan. And once you work there a little bit, you sure learn a lot of things.
Sure.
You learn a lot more about baseball, and you realize how much you don't know about baseball as you learn more about baseball. And I'm a different kind of fan now, I guess. A little more jaded, maybe, because I know some things.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to think of what direction we were heading with that question.
Yeah, no, it's just in terms of having to apply yourself in a world where you were an expert in audio and broadcasting, and then applying yourself to a scene in baseball, which perhaps somebody who was very good in this field but wasn't very good in that field, how much learning you had to do in terms of understanding the baseball world.
Are you referring to the PA job?
Yeah.
Oh, I had been working there and watching baseball for almost 8 years.
Right.
So before I actually sat in that chair. So I was okay by that point. By that point, I was just fine. I had 8 years of understanding a lot. Like, there's so many things when you start watching baseball. I mean, we all know that, right?
Sure.
And but after 8 years, you pick stuff up. You feel like an idiot more than once, but you do your best.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That's we say the audio room is a tough room, and it's a tough room. You make mistakes, boy. They're going to get on you. Not in a bad way. I say it's a lot of fun, but yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
It's a lot of fun to work in that place.
Yeah, and had you been to many games up to that point? So just as a fan going in to watch the Jays,
maybe half a dozen.
Right.
I mean, I've watched on TV.
Yeah.
I mean, living in Northern Ontario, I often get a chance to go to many games, but you watch them on TV.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So you said, I think, did you say you moved there in 77? Because obviously with the Jays, kicking off in 77, it's interesting, sort of similar times. I just wonder whether you'd in terms of Canadian watching baseball, whether the Expos were on people's radars rather than obviously a Toronto team.
I don't recall really, honestly, paying much attention. I did watch the Expos. I did like the Expos as well. I mean, for the longest time, those are the only games we ever got to see.
Yeah.
Even Blue Jays. I mean, that was just the way it was set up. We were close to the Quebec border, so we'd see Expo games more often. Just like we'd see Montreal Canadian games on Saturday night. We would not see the Leaf games on Saturday night.
Okay. Yeah.
It's all a question of geography, right?
Sure.
I mean, I had basic baseball knowledge, and I was aware of the Blue Jays because I was doing their scores on the radio, but I wasn't a huge, as I say, I wasn't a huge fan. Went to games if I had an opportunity. But you know what? I didn't expect to get into radio, and I didn't expect to wind up doing what I'm doing. So these things just kind of happen, right? And you educate yourself as you go along.
Yeah. And so were you ever overlapping radio and Jay's work, or was it?
I did. I worked at the Fan 590 for about 5 years while I worked. Probably maybe 2 of it as PA announcer, the other 3 doing audio.
Okay.
But it was a bit of an overlap there. I worked for a very short-lived radio station called Team 1050. I don't even put that on my resume.
Are they no longer in existence then, or are they?
They are now TSN Radio on that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Brilliant. So, what does a day now look like for you on a homestand game? How much preparation do you need to do before the game? How much is it spur of the moment stuff? What does a typical day in Tim Langton's life look like on game day?
Preparation gets simpler as the season goes on because you get to see teams. You don't have to worry so much about pronunciation because you've seen the teams, especially American League East teams. And I watch TV, so you get to see the teams, and it gets a little more comfortable as the season goes on. Take, for example, the home opener. Home opener, we probably start rehearsing for that. I mean, they're working on it now.
Wow.
All those amazing people that produce game day operations are probably working on it now. Not probably, they are. Yeah. I'm saying that with confidence. I'm not saying that with knowledge. Yeah. I should point that out. We are probably me personally, I mean, the people who do all the tech stuff, like the tape ops, the replay people, the audio guys, the DJ, the stats guys, all those people are in there long before I ever get in.
Right.
I probably come in about 3 days before the home opener. I get my script probably a couple of days before that. Start working on that. Hopefully there's nothing that's going to make you choke up in the script, because they've done that a couple of times to me. You got to read it over and read it over and read it over. You got to make yourself numb to it. Almost, that's not quite the right word, but you just got to get real familiar with it. So that's like 3 days of just working on, opening ceremonies, because I mean that stuff goes off without a hitch, and there's a reason for that. The people who plan it know what they're doing, for one thing, and we rehearse it. There's usually always new in stadium games that we'll play through the season, so we'll go through those and figure those out, and then game day, that's all about the baseball for me anyway. That's when I start making sure. Well, probably before that, I will start making sure I know who's on. You got to wait till they just declare their final rosters. But once they declare final rosters, you start working on making sure you know everybody's names, how to pronounce it, any kind of rule changes that affect what we do. Because, those timing rules, between batters, the 30-second clock, there's the timer that runs during inning breaks. So if anything changes, we got to be familiar with that kind of stuff. That's what gets us started. And then away we go. I mean, you prepare as far as you can.
Sure.
And then it's live.
Yeah.
You just don't know. I mean, sometimes you have to completely go the other way.
Right.
You just never know what might happen.
Yeah. And what was it like? You talked about the home opener. What was it like preparing? I put this on, especially my home T-shirt for you. What was it like preparing for that day after such a long gap from last year into the beginning of this season, not being at Rogers, and then that big opening homestand game? What was that like?
Well, you saw Charlie, and you saw Bo.
Yeah.
Didn't see me. You didn't see me. You didn't see half of our control room. It was a pretty happy thing.
Yeah.
It was after sitting in Buffalo, and I got to say the people in Buffalo were absolutely incredible. The Bison's crew and the folks that came in to help us out from Buffalo were absolutely the best, including the fans that came to see the Blue Jays play. It just really hurt when the Yankees came in.
Yeah.
And you got Vladdy hitting dingers and he's getting booed. It's just like, oh, good. It hurts.
Not
can imagine what it felt like for those guys. So coming home, for me, I mean, I'd only been away with the team for a couple of months. I'd only been in Buffalo as long as they'd been in Buffalo. So for those guys coming home, that was big.
Of course, a number of them not ever played there, which
That's
you forget.
True.
It's just like they've never experienced what it's like to play at home.
And the 30,000 fans that were in there, those first few games were they had it going. They really had it going. It was great.
Yeah. Well, friends of mine, Mark and Sarah, who very kindly donated me their T-shirt. They were there for that home opener season, and just talking to them and watching it on TV from here. I think we were all feeling the emotion. So what it must have been like in the ballpark was extraordinary. And I mean, how did you feel? I mean, your life. I mean, I know you're doing all your freelancing stuff, but when the announcement first came last season that they were not coming into Toronto, what sort of impact did that have on you in terms of mindset, emotions, knowing that baseball wasn't going to be there?
It was. I mean, just like anybody else, it was really disappointing. I understood why. But it was really disappointing. There's nothing else you can really say about it.
Sure.
It was a public health issue, and everybody did what they thought was right, and we got to watch a bit of it on TV. I mean, anybody who says, "Well, they had a bad 2020," everybody had a bad 2020.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah, just like anybody else, it was disappointing.
Yeah. It was yes, it's unprecedented. Clearly, it's the understatement of the year. But I think in terms of, I think for me, watching the Jays, they've had to live with much more than any other MLB team. I think I've spoken to so many people now in terms of last season and the impact of playing at Dunedin and then Buffalo before they came back to Rogers, and what impact that would have had on the family of the players and the backroom staff in terms of just living out of suitcases for such a massive part of the season, clearly had its toll.
Not just the players, like the clubbies were gone, just as were out of the country. Most of those guys are Canadian. They were out of the country for a long time. They were away from their families for a long time. So I mean, just beyond the players and the people you see on the field, there's a lot of people that were affected by that.
Yeah, sure. Okay, should we throw you some questions that the guys?
I will just let me say something here.
Yeah, of course.
As far as I'm concerned, from a Blue Jay, in my mind, and from a Blue Jay and a Major League Baseball point of view, 2020 did not exist.
Okay,
it just did. We skipped the 2020 season. It just didn't happen. It was so weird. It was so weird.
Yeah, even though they got into the postseason, you're just discounting that. That's
it was great. It was lovely, but it was a 60 game. Was it 60 game season?
60. Yeah.
From 162 to 60. Throw it all out. Throw it out.
Sure. Yeah. No. Understand the thought process behind that. Okay,
because I'm sure. I mean, there were a lot of guys that had bad years in 2020.
Yeah. But we'll look at we'll reflect a little bit on last season in a moment, because there were so many outstanding performances of 2021. Which I'd love to just hear a little bit from you in terms of some of the memories that you had watching. But I thought at this point in time, it'd be good just to throw you some of the questions that the guys have written in to me with. We might have covered a couple of them, but let's go for it. So Dave McLaren, he's a Scot. He's a great lad. He's given me 3 questions for you. So if you have any days off next year and you need somebody to cover, he's quite happy to come and do that. So if you want a little bit of Scottish lilt across the Rogers Centre,
he'll have to get in line. He'll have to get in line. There's a lot of people who want to do that.
I'm sure. Yeah, no, I'm absolutely sure. You've talked a little bit about pronunciations, I think is correctly said, of names. Have you had any particular nightmares or nervous moments where you've just struggled? Or
it's not usually player names. I find it's when we have like somebody throw out a first pitch, or I mean, we did it. When we came back and the Indigenous ceremonies we did at a couple of the ball games. Those are tough because I don't have as much time to practice them, for one thing.
Yeah.
Because I usually just don't get them till maybe a day before, and I don't want to mess up anybody's name.
Sure.
So those are the hardest ones. I mean, my heart's when I'm reading something and I'm getting up and I know that name's coming, my heart starts beating a little bit faster.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Generally speaking, I'd say I'd score about a 98%. That's
all right. I'd be happy with that.
Like I say, I mean, there are some ball players' names, like I will write it out phonetically on my score sheet. Tuiasa Sopo is the one name that I throw out there that was like, huh? It took a long time to, even after hearing it, it took a long time to remember what that one was.
Yeah. Doing it phonetically, I can see how that could.
Nobody can read my phonetic writing but me.
Yeah, it's like shorthand, isn't it?
Yeah.
The last question Dave asked is the use of the horn for the home runs. Is there a cut-off time where perhaps at night time you're not allowed to use it, or you're not allowed to let it ring? Because I know you tweet out the number of seconds every time we get a home run horn going. Is there any regulations about the use of it? Not
to my knowledge. No one's ever said anything.
Yeah, keep the noise down over there, Tim.
I mean, the place is surrounded by the Rogers Centre is surrounded by condos.
Sure.
So if somebody's gonna have a problem, they would have had a problem by now. Yeah. And I think it might even, who knows, maybe it's even in the language of the condo contract.
Yeah.
I don't know that. Who knows? Maybe it's there.
Yeah. Have they always done the horn?
They're since about, I'm trying to remember, 2007, I'm thinking maybe.
Okay.
I was just trying to remember. Because it came about, we were getting ready to for a new season. We were getting ready for our home opener. We were having rehearsals, and we were watching some hockey playoffs at the same time. And somebody scored. I think it was actually Boston and Toronto. Probably was Boston and Toronto. Boston scored, and they've got a really loud goal horn in Boston. I said, we should get something like that for. I believe I was the one that said we should get something like that for the ballpark.
Yeah.
And 3 months later, there was a ship's horn up on the roof.
Brilliant. There you go.
I'll take credit. I was thinking more of a train horn, but ship's horn's fine.
It will do. It works. Have you ever? I just wonder, what do you look for in terms of making sure it is a home run? Have you ever gone to press the button and realized, oops, that was a bit early? Or
I've done one complete mess up, like on the horn, probably a good 4 or 5 seconds before somebody said or I realized it wasn't out, and then I've done the little bump when that was more of finger on the trigger and then just went. Oh. Now I learned when I did it wrong the first time, like completely blew it the first time. That was, if I don't know, I just look for the umpire. I look for the close. I look for whichever umpire is covering that part of the field. And if he's doing this, I'm hitting the horn.
Yeah. Where are you actually based? Are you behind home plate?
I'm behind home plate, 300 level.
Yeah.
Just to the left of home plate.
Okay.
Because the radio broadcast booths are on the same level, and they're directly behind home plate, and I'm to the left of that.
Okay, so pretty good view from there then.
Yeah, it is. It's hard to tell sometimes, especially straightaway center field. That's really hard to tell unless it hits the batter's eye. It's really hard to tell if they hit the wall or if they hit the facing. That's where you really got to look for the umpires.
Yeah,
it's easy to see going out either right field, left field.
Yes.
Oh, speaking of watching it going out, one of the greatest things about last year was where I sat in Buffalo was really close to the field, and to watch Vladdy's dingers disappear into the night, over the fence, over the netting, into the park, it was a thing of beauty. It was like, oh, and it's gone.
Yeah.
It would just disappear from view.
Yeah, because there's a road, isn't there? I have driven around the back of Salem Field a couple of years ago.
Out to left field, it's a ramp on it's a road, and then I don't know what the building is over there, but they've got a parking lot, and it lands on that parking lot all the time.
Yeah.
It was really nice to watch. It's just disappear into the night.
Yeah, absolutely. To the moon and back. That's where they went. Okay. Question from Sandy. Sandy and Mike. Any particular highlight? I mean, there must. She says there must be literally hundreds of highlights that you've seen as an announcer. But is there anything that, or maybe a collection of things that just stand out as that was an amazing moment? I mean, obviously, we've already had Meg on talking about the backflip game, but anything else that sort of particularly comes to mind?
Having worked in that building for the length of time I have, what do I have? I guess I have 3 non-baseball favorites. Number one, I don't know how old everybody is, but Judy Collins, Sweet Judy Blue Eyes, everybody. Okay. I worked a world conference for an organization, and I watched her sound check Amazing Grace from about 3 feet away, and it just gave me chills listening to her sing that song. It was crazy. On the other side of things, we did, what was it? What do they call that? MMA 139 or whatever. I'm not real. That was a spectacular. That was just, I've never heard a sound system that loud in that building that wasn't distorted. It was absolutely incredible. They had screens that were so big. The guys that maintained them went up, and they had porta potties. They had portable washrooms up on top of their scoreboard, up on top of their video boards. That was insane. Wow. And I guess the Toronto Argonauts won 2 Grey Cups while I was working there. So that was a lot of fun. I worked 2 Grey Cups. It was, that's really something else. We got to work some NFL games as well. The Bills played there for a while. We used to do a series of NFL exhibition games at one time. So those are some of the things that are non-baseball. Baseball related. Wow. Oh boy.
How long have you got?
I can generalize a few of them. Watching Roy Halladay pitch.
Yep.
was just, I mean, at that time, it's too bad that team wasn't better, but at that time, at least when Roy is pitching, we're probably going to win.
Yeah.
So watching Roy, how did they pitch? Watching Carlos Delgado hit.
Yeah.
The guy was amazing. Vernon Wells, who I think was a highly underrated center fielder, was fun to watch play center field because he just looked so effortless, absolutely effortless.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just giving you the light ones right now. I enjoyed watching Sean Green play for the couple of seasons that I did get to see him play.
Right.
Watched Roger Clemens pitch for what it's worth.
Yeah.
It was pretty amazing at the time. I'm sorry, my alarm just went off. Watching Raul Mondesi play was fun. He was a character. There was a few characters on that baseball team that were always fun to watch. I guess there were some lean years. I'm just trying to think of some of those highlights of the lean years. Well, Pat Hentgen as well.
Yeah.
Another great guy. But now, obviously the 50 home run season by Bautista.
Yeah.
When that all began, things like watching Edwin Encarnacion go from EE5 to one of the most dangerous hitters in baseball and a half decent first baseman as well.
Yep.
It was never that he couldn't catch the ball. He just had that issue getting it across the field. But and watching Jose Bautista come in is like, who? And, just watch him just own it.
Yeah.
Completely own it. Mark Burley was fun to watch. R.A. Dickey was fun to watch. I got to mention, who else? Lyle Overbay. Enjoyed watching Lyle Overbay. But to talk about the bat flip game for a second, I had to watch it again after because I missed a lot of it. That place was shaking.
Yeah.
Everything was shaking. Every camera that when you looked up at the monitors, we can see our cameras and the broadcast cameras, both home and both our cameras and the broadcast cameras, and everything was shaking. Everything was shaking. It was crazy. The energy level was off the scale. And then we all had in our room, within a couple of seconds, all had to sit down and settle down and move on to the next thing while the building's still going nuts. And I'm announcing the next batter.
I was going to say, who remembers who came after Jose after he knocked it out of the park?
Well, I guess it would have been Edwin at the time, right?
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
Because I believe he did hit behind a Jose, did he not?
I think I think he probably did. I can't remember. I assume you didn't see the bat flip at the time because everybody's watching.
I did not. We actually found we found our own replay of it and replayed it and saw it. But no, I didn't see it the first time. Not at all.
I don't think many people did.
When he hit it, my hand went to the button.
Yeah.
And I just watched. Is it out? Is it out? Is it out? Oh yes, it's out.
Yeah.
That was. I think that was when the horn became famous.
Sure.
Was 15, 16 was because we got to use it a lot.
Yeah.
After that 2015 game, my producer was just more horn, hit it again, more horn.
Yeah, bring it on. Yeah.
I take such pleasure. There is when the roof is open and the atmospheric conditions are correct, that thing has such a sound. It's just, there's nothing like it in the league anywhere. It's just a wonderful sound.
Yeah. And I think that with the home run jersey this year or jacket.
That was a good one. That was really good.
Yeah. Just nice pairing.
It was thoughtful. There was just not, it wasn't a laundry cart.
Yeah.
It was, it was thoughtful. It meant something.
Yes. Good stuff. You can't remember how long your horn was for Jose's hit.
Oh,
he didn't get an extra couple of seconds just for the moment.
Honestly, I do not remember. I did go back when I started timing them this year, just for fun.
Yeah.
I went back because I figured, these are the ones that all horns are measured by.
Of course.
So I went back. You'd have to go through my Twitter feed to find that one because I did go back and time them.
Oh,
but I
did you?
can't
Right.
remember offhand.
Yeah. It was an extraordinary night, and I think for us here it was about 2:30 in the morning when that ball went out.
Now, mind you, with Jose, the first horn may not have been the longest, but there was a lot of them.
Yes. Yeah. I wonder whether
Well,
cumulatively across the season, the length of horns that year was the longest.
That's for somebody that knows how to work Excel, not me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a stat we've got to find out now. What seasons had the longest amount of horns?
Yeah. Vladdy, average horn time.
Yeah.
Bobichette, average horn time.
Lots of those.
It all depends on the importance of the home run.
Yeah. There we go. Excellent. Really good stuff. Right. Let's just get through a couple more questions for you.
Sure, I'll try to keep my answers a little shorter now.
No, it's good. I love it. I'm really enjoying it. So you talked a little bit about the pronunciations of names. Any particular favorite ones that I'm glad I nailed that?
Oh, wow.
That name.
Everybody asks me that, and I don't think
Yeah, it's just what you do.
Yeah, exactly.
It's what you do. Yeah.
Like I said, it's not the ball players' names because I have a lot of time to work on that. Yeah. It's the outside the ball player's name.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, David just another question he put in. David Robson. He also, just going back to the horn. He says, "Do you feel like the most powerful man in Canada when you press your home run horn?"
Maybe not in Canada, but definitely in the ballpark at that moment. Yes.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Kyle Bell. This is a good one, which we haven't really talked about at all. What's the best and worst walk-up music that's been played for a batter? How does that get chosen? Do they choose?
You're gonna get me in trouble here. Again, I'm concentrating on something else half the time. I mean, I should have Jed Harper, our DJ, on here because he'd have all kinds of stories for you. I'll ask him, "Oh, is that a new song?" He says, "No, he's had that since last year." Oh, so there's a level of how much I pay to the songs. Let's talk all time. Brad Fulmer. Brad Fulmer did not want anything. Dead silence.
Wow.
So when he got traded, he came back with the Texas Rangers, and I announced him up to bat, and our audio guys played crickets.
Did he know that was going to happen?
No, he did not.
That's brilliant.
No, but as far as walk-up songs, I'll know if it's good. I notice it, and if it's not, I tend not to notice it.
Yeah,
I like the guys. I like the Latin stuff. I like the Caribbean stuff. I enjoy that a lot.
Yeah. Do the players get to choose that themselves, or is it a bit of
they
a
do
team?
Indeed.
Right. Okay.
The players pick, and some of the guys, when some of the kids come up, they don't necessarily. I mean, they're a little more worried about other things, and
sure, yeah.
Our DJ will pick a song for them, and if they eventually they'll realize, oh, okay, I get to pick a song, and they'll send up an idea.
And
it's all the players. It's all player driven.
Yeah, and is it the same track for one season, or do they just that's my song and we have it every year? How does that work?
Well, Teoscar Hernandez have been using the same song since he got here.
Right.
Some guys change them to get a slump.
Yeah.
Some guys change them because they just heard a song they really like. And so, and some of them keep them, but some of them change them more frequently. Other guys keep them for a while. It depends on the player. Trying to remember who it was that used to change it all the time. It was like the 2015 era. It escapes me. Right. Most interesting songs, though.
Yep.
And not a walk-up song, but a picture song. Joe Biagini stuff.
Yeah.
It was always quite interesting.
Yeah. Well, that's Joe Biagini for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. That's brilliant. Just last question that's come in. Danny Stewart, he asks, have you had any really strange requests at all? Do you do requests even?
I've had people ask me to do things like, "Hey, can you say whatever? Can you give us a shout out?" It's like, no. I can't give you a shout out.
Doesn't work like that.
Any kind of requests, things like that. There's a whole process for that. People have asked for some interesting things, but no, we don't generally do those things.
Yeah, no.
At least I don't. I'm not going to give your bro a shout out. No, I'm not doing that.
So next time I'm there, it's no point in me giving you a little request then.
No.
Okay. Worth knowing. That's brilliant. So let's turn our focus to last year. What was your take on 2021? Did you come out of it disappointed that we didn't get through to the postseason? Did you come out of it just sort of with amazement in terms of how well they did? How did it land with you?
Well, I mean, at the time, not knowing what was coming, I would have been happy at that point. I mean, as a fan, right? As a fan,
sure.
To at least be in the hunt and playing big baseball in September. I thought playoffs would be certainly a possibility, not for sure, because I mean, we're playing in the American League East.
Yeah.
But no, not disappointed at all. I mean, this is the first full season these guys have played together. I mean, Vladdy's first year, I mean, he played 120 games, some odd, which is a lot. And then the next year, of course, everybody only played 60. This is the first time the core of this team has played a full season together. So things worked out pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, some things didn't work out as well as they had hoped, but things worked out generally pretty good. Alek Manoah is going to be a monster. He's got this is just my observation, but he's got it upstairs, and he's got the physical ability, and he's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder. So that's always, nothing wrong with that. As long as you manage it properly.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to be all right. And who knows what's going to happen? I mean, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, I'm sure they're doing all kinds of things that we have no idea, and we'll never find out until they finish.
Yeah. I mean, it was an extraordinary season, wasn't it? In terms of so many breakout. I mean, these four guys that I've got hanging on the wall behind me. I'm not sure. Well, certainly I didn't think that they would have as strong a season as they did. I think everybody's expectation is that we're still sort of building towards 2022. But last year I think was just extraordinary, wasn't
it? Yeah. These are some good ball players. I mean, I think everybody knew that Vladdy was going to hit.
Yeah,
there was no question about that. I keep thinking that's great. He had a great offensive season, but he's become a pretty good first baseman.
It's been excellent.
I always got to give him props for that, because he's become a pretty good. He saved some throws this year. So I mean, I very much like that about it. I like the way Danny Jansen came back from his injury. I'm hoping this continues. I mean, they had some trouble with the bullpen this year, and I mean, they're human. Ball players are human. It doesn't always work.
Yeah,
it was a great season. I am not as a fan, not disappointed at all.
No,
not at all. Next year, I think playoffs are a legitimate expectation.
Yeah,
and not a wild card.
No, absolutely. I mean, if they can pick it up where they've left off, absolutely.
I mean, I'd love to see it. It all depends. I mean, Boston and New York and Tampa all want to do the same thing. Everybody wants pitching.
Yeah.
It's just the one thing I've learned about being around professional sports, that includes the Argos and some of the other teams that we've had around the building, is you can't get too high and you can't get too low. I mean, there was a time when sport, especially hockey, you get way up there, maybe personally, and they get really bummed out when they lose. It's like, you know what? Those guys are out there, they're doing their best. And not everybody has their best day or their best week or their best year. And baseball's a streaky game anyway.
Yeah. I mean, we started really well, didn't we, in 2021? It was strong, and then we had this weird old dip in August, and I think at the beginning, I'm trying to remember now the timescales, but I think at the beginning of August, it just felt like all this is slipping away, and we felt off the pace. And then they have this bananas September, which just turned the world upside down. As you say, it's a sort of streaky. Why were they not so good in August and they were much, much better in September? What changed?
Personally, I think it's just a young team. You learn. I mean, that's what makes great teams, is the ability to play at a high level consistently. And you know what? They'll learn it. They'll figure it out. I'm sure they have figured it out.
Yeah.
And it's just, putting the pieces together and doing that.
Yeah.
And they can do it. I absolutely can't. And like I say, but there's 3 other teams that are trying to do it. I'm sorry, Baltimore, 4 other teams that are trying to do that.
Yeah. Well, they're still in our league. Yeah, absolutely. But whether they'll be there, we'll see.
That's probably the thing I've probably learned most about being around pro sports is these guys are humans.
Yeah.
They're human beings, and nobody feels worse about making a bad play than the guy who made the bad play.
Of course.
So I mean, and the things that people do on Twitter when a guy has a bad game, it's like,
yeah,
you're not a sports fan.
Yeah.
Not in my book, anyway.
No. Yeah. That's the downside of things like Twitter, isn't it? Is it can bring so much positivity, but it can also flip very quickly the other way when things
just carefully curate your timeline.
Yeah,
really works out.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, looking into 2022, obviously the big sort of debate is about sort of free agency and who's going to come back. And Stephen Matz has already disappeared now. Obviously, the Robbie Ray situation, Marcus Simeon situation hasn't yet been resolved. How do you see that landing?
I have no idea.
No.
Just based on what I've read from other sources, if Marcus Simeon doesn't come back to Toronto, he'll probably wind up on the West Coast because apparently that's where he wants to go.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows?
Absolutely.
That's all we know is what we read wherever, on The Athletic or on Twitter or what have you.
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely right. Is that all the talk has been it's either here or it's West.
Yeah,
and
that seems to be
sorry
Yankees, sorry Red Sox. Not going to happen, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, we're not disappointed by that at all, of course. We'll see where it goes. And have you got any eyes on guys from other teams that you think actually they'd be really good players to add in that are out on the free agency market? Anybody that's
you know what? I was just talking to somebody about this, and I had a couple of guys, and of course I'm blank right now.
Yeah, that's all right.
But you know what? Generally speaking, I really like this team. I mean, pitching is a weird situation, not for this team, just generally because you get a guy who may have been awesome last year who may not be so awesome this year.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're trying to put a really good rotation together and a good bullpen, and this is a great team just as it is.
Yeah.
Offensively, I mean, offensively and defensively, it's a pretty good ball team.
And what's lovely about it is it's stable for next season, isn't it? In terms of the vast majority of them will be here.
Yes, absolutely. There's a lot of things I'm looking. I wonder, will Gabriel Moreno be with this team this year? I mean, they brought Alek Manoah up when he was a young fella. I mean, totally. When you're ready, right? Who knows? Yeah. These are the things I'd love to see.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's going to happen, but these are the things I'd love to see.
Yeah, I'm predicting that he'll be. I don't think he'll be there at the start, but I think certainly at some point next season we're gonna see him back. I think Danny will be number one. I think Kirk may be our player who gets traded, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. That's the fun, isn't it?
I have tried to predict, and I am never successful.
Okay. We'll take it all with a pinch of salt then.
Yeah, pretty much shows you how much I know about the real nitty-gritties of the game, right?
Yeah. As long as you pronounce it right, that's fine. That's brilliant. Okay, Tim, I want to just throw to you as we sort of come to a close our little top 10 that we've been doing with everybody, just to see where things land with you. So this is again not not anything too deep. Hopefully, nothing
All
too
right.
testing on a Sunday afternoon, which is when we're recording today. So your favorite player from 2021, who with
Ooh. It's basically the same guy that's been my favorite player since he came to the team, and that's Teoscar Hernandez.
great. Okay.
I just, you know what? I like the way he plays the game. I thought he'd make a great addition to the team when I saw him play for Texas the first time.
Mm.
And I said the same thing about Justin Smoke when I saw him play for Texas the first time, but that's another story. Now, Teoscar, I mean, Vladdy and Bo, they're all great players. I like the way Teoscar plays.
Yeah. Cool.
And he can hit.
He certainly can hit. Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's nice actually hearing because we obviously Vladdy tends to be the sort of the top of the list in most people's minds, but it's nice just to hear a slightly different perspective. So that's
Vladdy's kind of like goes without saying guy.
Yeah.
You know, he's number one, and okay, who's next?
Yeah. No, I like the choice of Teoscar. Your favorite Jays player of all time? Who stands out for you thus far?
It's a tie.
Okay.
All time. No, it's named two guys, Delgado and Halladay.
Yeah, for the reasons you said earlier. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Your favorite non-Blue Jays player?
Ooh. Got to think on. Give me a second now. Oh boy. Non-Blue Jays player. Are we going to edit this?
Yeah, we can do. If you got a long pause.
I got to think for a second because there's a couple. Favorite non-Blue Jays player. I guess I'm going to have to say Kyle Seager. Wait. I'm thinking Evan Longoria is another one too. I like the way he plays as well. So there's a couple, and I'm even Kiermaier. He drives me crazy the way he sucks in fly balls, but you got to admire the way the guy plays.
Yeah. No, good shout. Favorite ballpark away from Skydome / Rogers?
Well, I haven't been to a lot.
Okay.
Most of my traveling actually, since I've been on that, has been to the Caribbean, but that's a whole other story. But I'm off to Minnesota this summer.
Right.
So I'll let you know. That'll be my favorite ballpark outside of Toronto.
Okay, that's cool. This is a good one for you as you're at the ballpark all the time. What's your favorite baseball food?
What's my favorite baseball food? I got to go with hot dog.
Okay.
I got to go with a hot dog.
I mean, can you even afford to delve into that sort of food every time you're at the ballpark in terms of?
No, I do not eat.
No,
you can't eat. You can't, as good as it is, you can't eat that all the time.
No, sure.
It's not good for you. It's not good for the waistline.
Indeed. That's what I was just thinking as I asked the question, which probably a little treat every now and again.
Yes,
is the hot dog food. And what beverage would you have with that?
Well, you gotta have a beer, right?
Got to have beer. Okay, that's absolutely right.
Are we looking for a specific beer or just a beer?
You know, if you've got a specific one that.
Well, I don't know. It depends what's in stock. Something dark though.
Okay, sounds good. Day or night game?
Wow, they each have their charm. But I gotta go with night game. Okay. Just to look with the roof open, you look up there and like the cities around you and the CN towers there. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is a special place when it's at night with the roof open. Your favorite Jays jersey color?
I like the road grays.
You're the second person who said that.
I'm fond of the road grays.
Okay.
I mean, the powder blues after that, but if I have to, if somebody said, you know, what jersey are you going to wear? I'll wear my road grays.
Okay. Any favorite jersey number that would go on your road gray?
Well, we usually do a season ticket holder event every year. and they give me a Jays jersey each year for that event. And it started out, this is going somewhere, by the way. It started out that I was just taking a blank jersey at first. And then I thought, you know what? I should get a jersey with the number of years I've been here. So my first one was number 8. And then I got number 9 and number 10 and so on and so on and so on until I got to 12. And you have to have, at that time, you had to have a particular player's name on that if you bought a number 12 jersey, or if you got a number 12 jersey, Hall of Fame anyway. So I thought, okay, I'm going to pick a number that means something. So I went with 25. 25 is Doug Ault, hit the first Blue Jays home run. Number 25 is Devon White. Number 25 is Carlos Delgado. Number 25 is Marco Estrada. And 25 is Charlie.
Yeah, of course it is.
So I thought 25 was a good number. Well, it wasn't Charlie at that time.
Sure.
Because I had done it seasons before Charlie was hired. But I went with 25 for several years, and I think I'm thinking about changing it this year.
Okay.
So 25 is a long answer.
Yeah, 25. Excellent. And lastly, you sort of hinted towards this, but roof open or roof closed?
Open.
Open. Yeah. Day or night, doesn't matter. Baseball's going to be played outside.
I mean, it's great to have that roof when you're in April and late in the year. But I mean, that was a wonderful thing this year, that the default position this year was open.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of, I don't know, I really enjoyed it, but I'm in a spot where I can be warm if I have to be.
Yeah. I remember one of the games, there was quite a heavy rainstorm, and they were rapidly trying to pull the roof over. I can't remember which, it was towards the end of the season, probably somewhere in September, if I remember rightly. I can't even remember who was playing that day, but I do remember this sort of fairly unusual scene to see heavy rain at Rogers.
It's happened a couple of times over the years I've been there.
Yeah.
But what's funny is you walk out of the ballpark after a game like that, and all they're talking about, and the roof was still open and the rain was coming down, and it's just, they love it. It's just one of those things that people get a kick out of.
Yeah, it's funny. Brilliant stuff. Tim, thank you so much for spending time with me today. Just been absolute joy to hear you speak so passionately, and just the experience that you bring to just all the things that you've gone through as a Jays announcer, and your passion for the team. And I know, certainly from our side as fans, particularly those of us, of course, overseas and stuff, and the times we get to go to see the Jays play, it's such a special occasion for us, because it's more unique perhaps than those who are able to go to the ballpark on a regular basis. And I know a lot of the guys here were super excited to hear that you would come and do this pod with us. So I'm so grateful for your time this evening.
My pleasure.
It's been
anytime.
Thank you so much, sir. Guys, I know you'll probably want to listen to this one maybe 2 or 3 times, but also I just want to remind you that if you've got a Jays story that you'd like to come and chat to me about, I'd love to hear from you. You're going to hear all the contact details from Tim at the end of this pod on how you can get hold of me. But for now, Tim Langton, thank you so much for your time. And guys, we will see you on the next episode.
Can I give you a live out?
Love that. Yes, that would be excellent. Here we go.
Thanks for watching Red, White, and Blue Jays. We'll see you next time. The Red, White, and Blue Jays podcast is a production of Blue Jays Fans UK. If you've got a Blue Jays story to share, let us know. Email us at bluejaysfansuk@gmail.com. And follow along on Twitter and Instagram at Blue Jays Fans UK. I'm your announcer, Tim Langton. Thanks for listening.